So, hello, I'm Emily, and this is
Santiago.
Santiago. Woo! So, Santiago, who are you, and how do we know each other?
Well, I will start saying that I'm a guy who is Catholic, and I happen to be in Chicago since October 2021. So I started attending to St. John Cancius, and the first person that I met was Emily.
Really, was I?
Yes.
Oh, so funny. I always forget that. So wait, so where are you from originally?
I was born and raised in Quito, Ecuador. I'm from Ecuador. Yeah.
And then you moved here. Why?
Because, well, in Ecuador, I had at that time, I mean, this is kind of I'll do it very simple, but
Little spark notes?
I did grad school, so I got a PhD. Then I was working as faculty in Ecuador, and then applied for different positions in the United States and got a postdoctoral position in Chicago. So that's why I came here.
So then I was one of the first people, or the first person that you like kind of met at Cancius.
First person actually. It was like I'm not sure. I think I've told you this before. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe, probably,
Yes.
but
Yes.
wow.
So this was kind of one of those times that you call the Holy Spirit times. And what happened is that, well, first of all, when you move to a new city, basically you don't know nobody. And even though I have family in Chicago, it's not the same to have family, but your brothers and sisters in the faith, which is always amazing. So what happened one day, I went to the bookstore, who is downstairs from the main entrance at St. John Cancius, and there was an image of Our Lady of Sorrows. So Our Lady of Sorrows, it's or Dolorosa del Colegio. It's a very important Marian advocation in actually in my high school. So
really,
yeah, there was an apparition manifestation of Our Lady on April 20th, which we are going to celebrate in a couple of days.
Soon, yeah.
In 1906. So this image opened and closed her eyes for 20 minutes in front of the whole students and also some teachers. This was a Jesuit high school.
Wait, so the apparition, or it was like an icon?
It was an icon that was opening and close her eyes.
In the high school?
In the high school. And the context is that at that time, Catholic education was under assault in Ecuador. And indeed, many other countries within Latin America, but particularly in Ecuador, there were a lot of restrictions. So after that, the miracle, the manifestation was pretty clear that we needed freedom for Catholic education. So long story short, I'm here in Chicago, and I'm going downstairs, and I saw an image of Our Lady of Sorrows. And Emily was in the booth selling those. Yeah,
so the bookstore, yeah.
And I bought that one, actually.
Wow.
That's the first thing that I got.
Yeah, and then actually Santiago at, I don't know why exactly you gave it to me, but you were like, I feel like I should give this to you. It was like the Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Yes, okay.
Medal.
That's a very...
And Our Lady of Guadalupe, I kept seeing her at like all of the churches, and it was very funny because I was going through a number of like ups and downs. It was like the Christmas season. You gave it to me, I think, like on the feast day of Our Lady of Guadalupe,
yes,
or like right after.
on December 12th.
Yeah, exactly on the day. And I think the week after that, someone gave me a St. Joseph medal, and it felt like the Holy Family was like coming to me at Advent, which was like very cool. That's
amazing. So the reason of that is, well, I was born on September 8th, which is the birth of our Blessed Mother, which is an amazing coincidence. I feel honestly that I'm not worthy of having such a coincidence, but I will just take it, and yeah, awesome.
Yeah, just accept.
So on 2021, before coming to the States, it was a hard year for myself. I lost my godmother that was almost like my mom, and it was pretty tough. So in my birthday, and this happened like a few weeks before my birthday. So in my birthday, instead of throwing a party or something, I decided to volunteer as one of the persons in charge of the procession of Our Lady of Guadalupe, which is a Marian advocation in Ecuador. And well, one of my aunts tried to help me to get him some medals, but instead of getting the medals of Our Lady of Guadalupe, got medals of Our Lady of Guadalupe. So I had so many that were blessed, and I just, kind kind of kept them with me until the right time came. And the right time was 2021 at Canchos on the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Yeah, yep.
Because I was just like giving them to so many people. I mean, I had the feeling of doing that very morning, and I went to Mass for doing that.
Yeah.
You know, like letting the Holy Spirit take over, and Our Lady also, do it.
Yeah, following those inspirations, which really is beautiful, because a lot of times we look for those big yeses, those big things, but a lot of times we can find our vocation or what we're supposed to do by being faithful to that really small thing. Like if we're faithful in the small things, then we're entrusted those bigger things.
Yes, I mean, if we are loyal with the little things, we're going to do great with the bigger things, of course. And that's an interesting point. So sometimes through our lives, we are going to witness a lot of miracles. These miracles could be huge, like huge conversions, or like somebody healing from a very complicated medical condition. And also we are going to witness the little miracles. Unfortunately, because of, I will blame on the movies and television, we expect to see these on a daily basis and do not acknowledge all the small miracles that we have already witnessed and like hold to them and build that trust, that relationship that is so needed.
Yeah, and I know if, do you know the Surrender Novena?
I've heard about it, I haven't done it.
Oh, the Surrender, well, I'll tell both of you. The Surrender Novena is a really, really important, good novena to do. It is a novena that was given to Father Dolindo Ruotolo by Jesus. It was like a apparition speaking. I'm not totally sure, but basically these are Jesus's words. The novena that you pray are Jesus's words to Father Dolindo. And Father Dolindo was actually the spiritual director of Padre Pio.
Wow.
Right. So that's like, we're talking big things.
Yeah.
Big. So this Surrender Novena is really beautiful because you meditate on Jesus' words, and then you're supposed to pray, "Oh my Jesus, I surrender to you. Take care of everything." And you pray that 10 times, and you do that. You can kind of just do a continual novena, and you just surrender yourself to God and say, "Okay, God, you take over. You take care of everything. Anything in my life, just you take it. You are in charge of it. I give you permission to come in. I surrender." And, okay, where was I going with this? Heck. That because in the novena, part of Jesus' words says that if you surrender, it's that act of surrender that you will see daily miracles. And he's like, "This I promise you." But really what it is keeping your eyes open for those small miracles day after day. That the biggest miracle that happens daily is the Eucharist. And just believing that it truly is God. But beyond that are all those small miracles of, all of a sudden there's a surprise bus to take you where you need to go. And it wasn't on the tracker and you were going to be really late. And wow, that's a miracle. Or you could have tripped crossing the street, falling into traffic, but you caught yourself. Those small things, just having your eyes open and knowing, being aware.
That is amazing. I will definitely check better. I think I should do it now that you're saying this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a very good one. So, have you always been Catholic?
Well, I was born and raised Catholic. Being from Ecuador. In Ecuador, where I was born in 1988, and at that time, I would say 90% of the population was Catholic. From that 90%, 46% were practicing Catholics. So that gives you different numbers. So being a kid, I would say that I was extremely faithful. Even once I had my, just like a side story, my mom says that I had my savings in this little, the piggy bag, how you call it,
Little piggy bank.
Yeah, piggy bank, that's the word. Yeah, I'm not fluent in English. So
how do you say it in Spanish?
Un chanchito.
Oh.
So in this piggy bank, I had all my savings, and they were doing some reconstruction in our local church. So I told my mom, "Let's take this, and give it to the priest." And it was everybody was, "Oh my God, this is so nice." I honestly don't remember, but my mom says that it was beautiful.
Wow. I don't remember. See, but that's more important. We're not supposed to remember, right? The left hand should not know what the right hand's doing,
Yes,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. That is absolutely true. So then what happened, I went to a Catholic high school, but in my Catholic, I mean, they did their best, I would say, in terms of going to Mass once a week. We had the chapel open with the image of Our Lady of Sorrows, the same one that I have in my medal. And also, besides of that, we had a religious education. But after high school, like as many others, I simply stopped going to Mass. And that remained for 3 years. So my best friend, he went to Europe. I mean, I had like a reverse, I mean, I come back to the Catholic Church for 2 reasons. The first one, my best friend, Diego, he went to Europe for a class. I mean, he was invited by a Catholic organization for a course on Western history, theology, and philosophy. So he was studying all of that, and based on what he said, they were doing daily prayer, daily mass, like a lot of many good things for you. So when I saw him, just by seeing him, I said I need to go back to confession, like immediately, because he had something special surrounding him. Yeah. And we've been friends always. We have done like so many great things together, not too good things together as well, like always. We've been friends since like 9 years old. So that was the first part that changed my mindset, like something very sensitive, very, you could sense like when somebody has some holiness. Yeah. Then the second one is by training, I'm a chemical engineer. So I've been doing chemical engineer probably since I was in high school, like doing stuff in my mom's kitchen, like trying to put things together, running experiments. I love doing experiments. And the kitchen is the best.
Yeah, what was your best or messiest experiment?
My messiest? Okay, with supervision of my mom, when I was 16 years old, I brewed a beer.
Oh,
yes.
With that supervision.
Supervision, she agreed. And it was such a great experiment. Yeah. Like seeing all the yeast coming up. We didn't have all the equipment, but with enough intuition and creativity, use like a high pressure pot to put all the ingredients, let the fermentation happen, and yeah, it worked out.
But that was the most fun or the messiest?
That was a mess because in the process of producing that, you need to extract all the sugars, and that I mean, we did it through a hose, and the kitchen was a disaster. We ended digging a hole to put all the trash. Wow. The organic trash, but it was a mess.
Wow.
And my dad was like, oh my God, what are you doing? This is crazy. You have to clean up this. And I was, yeah, of course.
Wow.
My mom, with a thermometer kind of helping. Yeah. So because of this really love and gift from God of chemical engineering, I was interested in petroleum, and everybody would say like, why petroleum? Like, it's absolutely uncorrelated. The thing that Ecuador, for those who don't know, it's a very small country located in the equator in South America, and was named after the equator line because of a French expedition that came in the 1700s to the country. So when they got independence from Spain, and then second from the Great Colombia, that was the second big country that was put together, Ecuador, was named Ecuador. So long story short, Ecuador started the development of their oil and gas reserves in around 1868. The reason is that at that time, Gabriel García Moreno was the president of Ecuador, and he had a great relationship with the Holy See, with I believe it was Pope Pius IX. And they exchanged a lot of correspondence, and Gabriel García Moreno, president of Ecuador, he requested a priest scientist, to come to the country, put together a university, and develop the science. So that happened, and they sent some of the best priests, Father Sodiro, Teodoro Wolf, like so many. They had training in geology, botanics, and physics, and more. So what happened is that some of these priests, they went to the country and they started exploration. and they found these oil reserves. So Ecuador already knew what was going on with the oil reserves at Peninsula de Santa Elena in the coast. At the same time, the first oil wells were drilled in Pennsylvania, here in the United States. So when I saw that, I was extremely intrigued. Who is this gentleman, Gabriel García Moreno, who started something that I had no idea, first of all, like oil and gas exploitation, like in the 1800s. So by reading his life is extremely inspirational. He was a great statesman and also very committed with his Catholic faith. I ended reading like 4 biographies of this Jesuit priest, Father Severo Gomez Jurado, and also from other historians who have like a brother, Bertré is another French historian who has a biography on Gabriel García Moreno. The important part of this was of Gabriel García Moreno, his rule of life, his absolute commitment with the Catholic Church, and how he would react towards a lot of things. So what he established in Ecuador at that time was extremely prosperous. Everybody might wonder why. The reason is that we had an agreement between the Holy See and the state of Ecuador. So one was seeing the other one, checking that both were functioning properly. So if there was some issue with some priest, they will have some punishment driven by the government, and likewise, if the government, some officials weren't doing their job properly, they will have some kind of auto-control. So both entities were controlling themselves. Unfortunately, he was doing that great that was murdered and martyrized on August 6th, 1875. Whew. And the most beautiful part of that martyrhood, because you can see this in so many different ways. The martyrhood of Gabriel García Moreno, he was shot and they had a machete and he was like brutally assaulted. Yeah. But once he was in agony, they took him to the Cathedral of Quito. He received the last sacraments, he received communion, and he forgave his murderers and the people who organized also his murder.
Whew. Forgiveness, that's important.
That is amazing. Hard. So that's basically that. When I saw that somebody from my home country has done something that incredible, I said I want to do my best to at least try to reach that ceiling.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. I think the two things really to pull out of your story is martyr is Greek for witness, and we're all called to be a martyr. We're not all called to die by a machete, but we're all called to die to self in some small way at least, and it's painful. And I think what's amazing is that you could see that you were drawn to the holiness of your friend, which is an amazing witness, right? Because Jesus says, by your love, others will know you are my disciples. Others will know, right? Because holiness is attractive. And you saw the holiness, you saw the love in your friend, and that attracted you. But not only that, you found someone who was remarkable in his field, in science, and really realizing that science is a search for truth, and God is truth. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Right? So that there is no contradiction. And if there is a contradiction between faith and science, there's either a misunderstanding or there's a missed connection of like a deeper digging. But it really all connects together. And I think that's beautiful that you found, especially as a chemical engineer, right? Being able to use that in a way that desire to do experiments, right? To go through that scientific method, to search out what is true, to really use that logic and that knowledge to deepen your faith and to maybe use what you can do, right? That gift that God has given you to glorify God in that, but also to see that holiness and conviction of others and to desire that for yourself.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't seen in that way ever, but it's amazing. It's beautiful.
Exactly.
Because I always tell everybody that we can't believe in what do not understand. So the first step of believing is to understand. And sometimes people who have a pure heart can assimilate all this easier. Other ones, I include myself in that group, who are more stubborn, we need to follow certain paths. And when getting closer to the faith and understanding the truth of the faith, something that helped me a lot was to read, first of all, Saint Augustine, and especially Saint Augustine Confessions, because like Saint Augustine went through a very hard journey. If somebody this very moment feel that is not worthy, read Confessions, because we all can make it. And besides that part, the logic part and all the philosophy, the basis of that Saint Augustine contributed is absolutely amazing. And on top of that, we have Saint Thomas Aquinas. And the contributions of Saint Thomas Aquinas unifying the philosophy of Aristotle with the Catholic faith gave the basis for the development of the science. I mean, of science after, because Saint Thomas Aquinas was in the 13th century. So after that, science had like a huge exponential growth. And even people who are wondering like, hey, there are Catholic scientists. Well, there's actually last year was canonized Father Jose Gregorio Hernandez. I mean, not Father, Dr. Jose Gregorio Hernandez from Venezuela. A scientist, many publications, papers, and also he was a doctor. And he died the day that World War I ended. Wow. Offering his life. And who else? Father...
I know Gregor Mendel was Catholic priest. For the geneticist of genes and gene pooling.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, with the plants and
true. And also the father of embryology. That name always I struggle remembering that name.
I was going to say now we're out of my depths of science knowledge.
Yes, no, but also the creator of the person who theorized the Big Bang theory, Father Lemaitre, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, also, and currently the most acclaimed scientist. His name is Juan Maldacena. He's Argentinian. I think he works at Princeton. Juan Maldacena explains that time was part of creation, meaning that at the very beginning of the Big Bang, time had a different way of perception as we know it right now, and that assumption is needed to unify all these theories in physics.
Very interesting. Yeah, a lot of time. Yeah, if you go back. They won't teach you this in school, probably not even Catholic school. But you start digging, you start seeing how important religion is and was, and how these different thoughts. It's just like totally amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I meant Jerome Lejeune. Jerome Lejeune. He was the father of embryology, and he was meant to win the Nobel Prize of Medicine, but you know, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay because. We are probably, if you're doing things great, you're not going to be rewarded in this life. So
it depends. Yeah, and I mean something that you brought up with Saint Augustine's Confessions, that if you don't feel worthy, to not despair, right, and to really keep going, because something that I found very interesting is that. Now that we're in the Easter season, right? The first person that Jesus appeared to in the scripture is Mary Magdalene. Mary, who had 7 demons in her. And if you look at that biblically, 7 is the number of fulfillment. So basically she was fully 100% possessed of like those 7 demons. She was fully, her will was totally, the demons had her. But Jesus saw her heart, right, saved her, and she's the first person that he appears to, and she wasn't perfect, right? Because there are some saints like Mary, or like Saint Therese of Lisieux, for example, right? Never committed a mortal sin, but he didn't appear to a saint like that in the scriptures first. Now, what did he really do? Right, there's some game to believe a little bit more, but in the scriptures, a point is made that he first appears to Mary Magdalene to say that, once you are redeemed, if your heart is to me, there's no need to despair about those those past things, just like St. Augustine, right? His pre-conversion life was not good, but post-conversion, just like St. Thomas Aquinas, he really defended the faith in a time and in a way that he needed it. And, you know, who are those saints now? Who are you? Who are we now in this time that need to be raised up to defend the faith in the way that is most needed now?
Absolutely, yeah. It is certainly a journey. We will have a lot of errors, we will have a lot of suffering. The interesting aspect of this is how do we use that as our driving force instead of being that particular thing that is going to, that is making us go slower or be scared, because that happens, right?
Yeah.
But use that suffering, use that error that every human, I mean, we all have, lots of errors, as a driving force to the seek of truth, which is at the end of the day what every human being is created for.
Yeah, to seek the truth, right, in those small moments, going back, right, being faithful to those small moments, not doing it out of a need of, oh, I need to earn love or merit salvation, but really in that I'm just going to be faithful to this present moment. So, Santiago, do you have any closing tips or things that we should keep in mind of, like how to live, or what do you think is most helpful for you?
Okay, well, right now I'm trying to put some ideas together, and from that experience of trying to put this together, writing stuff, is that the most important thing that we need to develop, we need to focus on, is our relationship with God. Not a relationship that we are only talking like blah, 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 blah. Because a relationship, if is a true relationship, goes back and forth. We talk, we listen. We talk, we listen. We spend time together. Go to the Blessed Sacrament. That is that particular experience is beautiful. I mean, develop that relationship and acknowledge everything that God has given you. And if God takes some of that stuff, take it as a gift that was taken, and that's fine, as long as we keep that relationship that is beautiful, is absolutely fulfilling, and is some kind of filter that is going to help us to make it through life, even though we have problems, even though we have lots of provations, like different struggles, because that's how it's to be a human being. So welcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, develop a good relationship with God. There are many different ways of doing that, making that happen.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, just opening up that silent time, right? Remembering that we do live in the valley of tears, but that God is a good Father and that everything is grace.
Absolutely.
So that's amazing. So thank you, Santiago.
Thank you so much. This was amazing.
I know, it was so fun, right? Thank you. Goodbye. Subscribe. Oh, subscribe. Yeah, I know. I never. So please subscribe. Bye.